Hi, everyone. It's Michelle Cordero, Education Director at ASIS, coming to you on remote location today for our weekly live stream. We're actually getting some work done on the campus, and so not in my usual office, but I'm still going to bring you some great information today, and going to do things a little differently. Up until now, I've had someone on every week as a guest on the show to ask different questions about their work in the field or at our school and talk about different parts of our program. And today I'm going to do a little differently, and it's just going to be me. I want to do a deep dive into our program, really explain the ins and outs, how it works, how a student goes from entering the program, going through the whole program, how what their schedule looks like, and what kind of modalities they'll be learning, how our hybrid program works, what their online classes look like, and some other, we'll get to some questions that we commonly hear from students or potential students about the program to kind of help break things down a little bit too, and kind of highlight some of our unique features, some of the things that we think we're really proud of here at ASIS. We think it makes us stand out a bit. It fits many of our students' schedules and way they like to learn. And so I want to be able to share that with other people as well. So because I am not in my office today with my multiple command center, as we like to call it, I'm going to be sharing my screen on, I just have one computer this time. I don't know. It's like going back into into prehistoric times. It almost feels like when you're used to all the screens. So apologies ahead of time if there's any tech challenges, but I think we'll be just fine because I prepared a little something so I'm not just talking to you, because that's no fun. And we'll have some great visuals and be able to talk through some things. So I'll still be able, hopefully, to see all the comments. So if there's anybody watching live that has any comments or questions about anything that I'm going over, please feel free to write it in the comment section. I'll be able to check that out. And if you're watching after the fact and you have further questions, I'm going to show my email address right there on the screen. I'll put it back at the end of the broadcast as well. So if there's anything that you see this now later, you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook later, and you have a question to follow up about one of the classes or how some of the schedule works or anything like that, that is my email. I check my email all the time. My phone is pretty much in my hand or close by at any time. So be happy to answer those questions. And of course, you're always welcome to go to our website, asismassage.edu, and fill out the contact information in any of the forms that we have, the contact us thing, and we have the little chat box thing too, that you can ask for more information or give us a call or any of the ways that you can reach out to us. So without further ado, let's go ahead, and I'm going to bring in my other screen real quick. So let me do that. So we're going to do this, and let's see if I do that, if it's going to work all right there. I'm just going to double check on my other side here that looks like it's appearing pretty well. As I read through this first slide here, I'm going to check and see everything looks great there. So our inside look, the hybrid program, an exploration into our accredited hybrid program that provides a flexible and dynamic option for students living in the modern world. So we do, as a reminder, have 4 campuses: Flagstaff, Mesa, Prescott, and Tucson. And that is our website on there. So a little backstory about our hybrid program and how it came about. And I feel, talking to many people in education and just reading blog posts and articles that have come out and just kind of paying attention in the field, it seems that COVID-19 really, it put us in a big bind right away, especially for these programs that were very hands-on, very in person. And we had I won't say scramble. There was some scrambling, but in our case, luckily, there wasn't a huge scramble because we already had a lot of the functionality in place. And it was just a matter of shifting gears and kind of changing how we operate a little bit. So it didn't quite feel like the scramble, but out of that and out of that hustle and out of the creation that happened, I know for us personally on our level here at our school, and I talked to other people as well, we found some great things that actually came out of exploring a new way of delivering information, especially for a school like one that teaches hands-on modality like massage. I feel a lot of people thought there's no way that you can do it. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about what that means. You think massage school online, like, oh my gosh, how are you going to learn how to massage people? Want to clarify, it's not the entire program. And I'll explain those and I'll break it down for you because the hands-on is definitely the hands-on. We're going to make sure about that. But I think it goes to show too that not a lot of people understand what's involved in massage school. Some people, unfortunately, think it's just putting lotion on people and giving a good back rub, which that's a great part of it. But there's a lot of learning that's going on behind the scenes in anatomy and physiology and kinesiology and other subjects that can be presented in a different format than strictly in person. So once we started seeing how things were working for our current students, we noticed we were onto something that we could provide maybe a little bit more of a flexible schedule for our students if we took a portion of our current program and put it in an online fashion. So that's how the hybrid program came to be. We have gotten it approved through our accreditation process. I'll talk about that a little bit as well. So it is very legitimate schooling, and I think you'll agree with me by the time that we finish this part of the presentation. So a little bit of our program overview. So ASIS has 800 hours total. Our program is divided into 8 modules. And module 1, so I should say a little bit that our modules, we actually have different names for them, but I'm just going to refer to them as numbers right now for the most part until we get a little bit later on. So our module 1, it is the 114 hours in-person class hours. So the first module, when everyone comes in, that we're in that modular program, they're going to come in and solely be in that group of the people that they started with. And they're going to have, show a little bit more of what's going to be, but it's mostly hands-on, and it's giving them that foundation so that when they get to the next bullet point there, modules 2 through 7, they then switch to 56 in-person class hours and then 40 online class hours. And this works for both full-time and part-time. It's exactly the same length of program, same kind of class, same number of classes, same content of classes. It's just spread over the year or the time frame in little different format is all. So that was another nice thing too, that we had the opportunity to make the program a little more succinct, take out a little bit, like some little bit extras that weren't quite adding up for both programs, and we're able to make them exactly whole and exactly the same. So that's just something that really came out of this that was great as well. So all in all, those 40 online class hours over those 6 modules adds up to about 30% of our program is delivered in this online format. So there's in the majority of the program is still in person, hands-on time. And what we ended up doing is in that 30% took out a lot of the stuff that holds us up from getting on the tables. So giving the students the background information, the lecture content, the readings to do, so that when they got to class for those 56 in-person class hours, they could watch a demo and get on the tables and use all the in-person time very efficiently and on the table. Okay. Of that 70%, 100 hours of that is our clinic, and they do have to complete exactly 100 hours over the course of their program. They do that over modules 2 through 7. So in module 1, they're learning how to be able to work on the clinic clients. And then by the end of 7, they're getting wrapped up for graduation. So they usually are finished over those times. And then in our program, we also offer the first aid and CPR certifications, which is required to become a chiropractic assistant in the state of Arizona. And our program is approved for chiropractic assistant training as well. So if they complete all the work of the program, they can get that certificate and end up going to work for a chiropractor. And many of our students choose this option to especially work while they're waiting for their hands-on massage license. They can go and work under a chiropractor and perform different front office duties and light patient care types of duties as well, as outlined by that CA certificate. So it's a nice option that they get as well. And in our program, we're very proud to offer a lot of East meets West. At the very end, I'm going to go through all the modalities, so you'll hear all the ones that we do offer and the blend that kind of happens. So it's a nice counterparts to each other, and we find the students do a really great job of blending all their modalities together to make their own unique massage. All right, and I did put the information in there. We are institutionally accredited by CompTIA. CompTIA is an accreditation agency that strictly only accredits massage and aesthetic programs. And we are proud to say that we are the only school in Arizona that has that accreditation status. So I wanted to throw that in there as well. So our modules, the first module, they come in and this is the full-time. We'll get to the part-time in a little bit. So the full-time module schedule, class meets Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 12:20, and then they get a little lunch break, and then they meet again from 1 to 3. It's 3:20, 3:30, just about then. So in this first module, the classes are a blend of Swedish massage, Intro to A&P, Intro to Kinesiology, Intro to Case Studies, and classes to get ready for the student clinic. Case Studies is a very unique, I'm very proud of this program that we have. We actually, if you're watching this on our YouTube, very easy to go to our playlist of the live streams and find our live stream on the case studies. It goes into more depth about what that class is about. And so we introduce the students to it right from the get-go so they can start thinking about the project, because it goes over their whole entire program. The other classes are a little snippet into the A&P and the kinesiology, and to get them ready because they're going to be doing those classes in their online format after this module. So we're making sure they get that foundation from the get-go and they have a clear understanding of how to build the other classes on top of that. And our Swedish is the big part of that mod. We sometimes call this mod the Swedish mod, or we call the students who are in that mod the Swedes, because it's so heavy in Swedish. There are 26 classes in that first month of just Swedish massage for the full-time class. So it's very, very heavy in there. So they're in class for a full month, for 5 days a week, for 4 weeks. And then once they finish that, so I'm going to go into this. I walk through what those schedules kind of look like. So the morning, the afternoon classes over 4 weeks, and very heavy in the Swedish classes as well. So once they finish this whole round of those 4 weeks, then they go to their second mod. Again, that's when they start their clinic. And this is how their program is going to look from their second to the 7th month. So the classes then meet Monday through Thursday. So Friday is no longer in that mix, 9 to 12:20. And then instead of the Friday, they complete 10 hours of online homework a week. Okay, so that 10 hours over 4 weeks, that's the 40 hours. Fridays, then, they become a flex day. We say flex day. Some students think day off day, and we don't want to think of it as day off because it's still part of their schedule. And we have study halls, special classes, and clinic on those days as well. So students have an option how they want to spend that Friday. If they've completed all their work for the week, if they have their clinics done, because we also have clinics in the afternoons that they can sign up for, if there's no special classes that Fridays, then their flex day can be an off day. So it is motivation for some of our students to get everything done earlier in the week, to be able to have Fridays as kind of an off day and have a 3-day weekend. Some students like the Fridays because it's a little quieter on campus. The clinic is really pretty nice. We have a pretty full clinic on Friday mornings. So that's where that flex day makes it really nice for the students that it works for. And then each module is a blend of in-person, hands-on modality classes and online lecture classes. And students work in the massage student clinic during these modules. We have many opportunities for them. Depending on the campus, the schedule is a little different. So I don't want to go different times right here, because you should just call the campus to find out if you're watching this from a client point of view and you want to get a massage. But just know that they will be starting then in that 2nd to 7th module as well. Okay, so here's an example of how one of those hybrid online class modules, work. So again, we have our breakdown of the 4 weeks. And at the beginning, we count the week to start on Friday. So Friday, the week before, we're going to say. So the online classes every week, they're going to have 4 because each one is worth 2.5 hours. That's the 10 hours right there. And the students can work at their own pace. as long as, if you see on the side there on the right-hand side, as long as they make everything in by that due date. So some students take that Friday and say, I've been coming to class on Fridays all the time. I'm just going to take Fridays and get most of this done and maybe a little bit over the weekend. And then Monday, I don't have to worry about anything. And other students, they do a little bit, and get it in by the 18th. Some of the students kind of dragging their feet a little bit, and on the 18th, we're kind of poking them a little bit. But there's always some need for some help here along the way here. Once in a while. But that's how the basic thing works. So they get a little template kind of visual of their schedule every month like this. And they can see what the titles of their online classes are going to be. They can see what their in-person classes are going to look like, and take note that there'll be some clinics, and then they have their Fridays. They can remember what days are their due dates. And this really helps them, especially if there's any breaks. Like this is an example of actually our current module that's coming up next week. And we actually have a 4th of July break that's coming up in there. So it's helpful to remember, okay, what day do I actually have it due? Because we have a couple of days off from school, that kind of thing. So this is really a nice little visual for them to have. And this is how the program works. Okay. Now in the part-time program, again, like I said earlier, all the content is the same. All the number of classes are the same. And the number of hours are the same, but the schedule is a little bit differently. So we start off the module in the full-time as a kind of a Monday start, but Saturdays we're considering our kickoff for the week. So the classes meet in the first module, Saturdays 9 to 12:20 and 1 to 3:20. And then they have evenings, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings from 6 to 9:20. These, again, just like the full-time, classes are a blend of Swedish, Intro to A&P, Intro to Kinesiology, the Intro to Case Studies in there as well, and the classes to get ready for student clinic. All exactly the same. So here's a little breakdown. I had to cut it in half so it could actually fit on the screen. But again, same amount, same number of hours. Here's a little different. There's 23 Swedish classes on this schedule as opposed to the 26 in the full-time. And the only difference there is the full-time classes have a couple of shorter class hours in there. The afternoon class is the 1 to 3:20. So it's the same amount of class hours, just broken up a little differently in the class segments. So, but they get the same exact amount of stuff. So full-time, 4 weeks long, part-time, each module 7 weeks long. So that's what stretches it out a little bit more to make it part-time. Now their 2nd to 7th module in the part-time program or the night program, now when they finish the all-in-person module and they start into their hybrid online work, now their classes are just going to meet Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So instead of that full day Saturday becomes the flex day now with the study halls, special classes, clinic times, catching up on any work that they might have from the online portion. And then as opposed to their counterparts in the daytime, they complete 5 to 7.5 hours of online homework a week as opposed to the 10 hours that the full-time students do. So it's a little lighter schedule per week. Each module is, again, the same blend of in-person hands-on classes and online lectures, and then the students work in the massage clinic. Most of the campuses have it Thursday evenings and Saturdays on some campuses. So again, same module I showed as the full-time, just broken down in 7 weeks as opposed to 4. And again, their start of the week starts on the Saturday, ends on the Saturday. So they have a full week to get their assignments done. It could be anywhere between 5 or 7.5 hours each week as opposed to the 10. Okay. And then their final module, that's what at the beginning I said we have 8 modules. First one is the all-in-person module. Mods 2 through 7 are the hybrid modules, and then they come out again into their own little cohort into we call Omega, which is their 8th module, and it's actually just a week, even full or part-time. It's just a week long. This is when students are completing their program. They make sure they get all their finals in. They do their projects, make sure those are completed. If there's any outstanding assessments, they participate in Transition Day. Transition Day is a wonderful day that we have on our campus campuses where the students are able to do their final massage as a student on campus, and they can show all their skills that they've learned. We invite outside employers to actually be a part of this so they can watch the massage. And then they get to interview with employers so they can practice talking about themselves and what they bring to the table, quite literally, and perhaps even get a job. We're very proud of this day, and a lot of students, as nervous as they are getting into doing it, they've come out of it the other side very proud of themselves for what they've accomplished, and get to see like what progress they've made throughout the program. So it's one of our most exciting days that we have. And then also during that Omega Week, we do our applications for state licensing. So part of our program fees at ASIS, part of our tuition includes the application for Arizona state licensing for the massage therapy license. So we help with their fingerprints, and we upload their photos and do the payments and all that kind of thing during that week as well. And of course, graduation. We have, it's sort of a whirlwind sometimes when you have graduation at least once a month, sometimes two if you're having the part-time lineup with the full-time. A lot of emotions, a lot of excitement. Last month there was quite a lot going on, not to mention people in my personal life. We had a bunch of graduations as well. So a lot of emotions for sure. But so happy for all the students that get through the program. It's really exciting. All right, so some common questions we get, particularly for the online learning. So first one we get a lot, and it's not just us, I think in general, people like I said in the beginning, how can you learn massage online? And I'll restate kind of what I said and go into it a little bit more. We definitely are making sure that they're in their hands-on work, their touch, their modality training, all of that is done in person. And we are working with them. Our class sizes are pretty small that we can work with them pretty closely. We're observing their clinic sessions, just checking in with the feedback from the clients for that. So we are doing a lot of feedback, a lot of observing, a lot of assistance in that department. And it's one of the reasons why our Swedish classes, there's so many. We really get that foundation with them, make sure that they're getting those body mechanics nailed down really well, the draping procedures, and just getting feel of flow really nicely in person. So then they learn all the other modalities. They have a really good foundation as it is. The other part of it is, even in the online classes, which we have a lot of the anatomy, kinesiology, business communication classes, we have study halls for them. We have tutoring times. We have special kinesiology palpation classes that we offer to all the students. They can get extra credit for. So we have lots of options for that, for anybody who may be struggling to absorb or just need a little more assistance or want to dive a little bit deeper. And I just actually, a few minutes ago, I just came from one of our special kinesiology classes that we have on campus. And, some of our students that have no trouble getting their assignments in fine, they're there because they want to still learn more and ask questions and pick the brain of the instructor. So we have lots of opportunities for all students, ones who are struggling and ones who want to dive in deeper that are doing pretty well academically. Okay. One of the other questions we often hear or often comes up sometimes if we see a student maybe struggling a little bit, that they don't do well studying at home, what are their options? So it's a nice part about our campuses and the fact that after that morning class that's kind of quiet on campus, and we tell students for the first round, they were able to stay all day. So why don't you stay a little bit longer here on campus? We can let you borrow a Chromebook. You can go study in a back corner in the office or something like that, or a little student area lounge. And you have usually an instructor or two around to ask questions for. And coming in at the opposite program time, there's lots of options like that you can come in. We welcome students to come in at all times that we're open. They can come use the Wi-Fi. They can get away from all the hecticness at home. Because I know myself, I am not the best at doing things not in my office. So today's like one of those examples, but I think we're doing okay so far. So we support our students in any way that we can, and we're able to do that for them as well. So some of this is not one one type of answer necessarily, but we'll sit down with different students and discuss what are those options. So if you're thinking about starting this and that's one of your hesitations, when you come in for tours and talk to the admissions teams, those are things that we really should bring up, because you don't want surprises later on, or you don't want to say, oh, I can just handle it on my own and that's fine. We've seen so many scenarios and so many things that we're the best people to help you with that, because we know how people were successful before you to be able to complete it. So just a little tidbit, I know I'm not as admissions, but when you first come in, I know the excitement to get started and just want to get everything and I'm going to do great and pass all my classes. Sometimes you overlook some of the struggles that you have, but you're like kind of push it down. Let us know it from the start and we can make sure that you're supported right from the first minute of class. So that's really important. The next question that we get, what if I have questions about the assignments? Like I said, we do have regular study halls, and we call them Q&As, and we have 2 instructors that do one every Friday and Saturday morning. So Friday morning would work for our day students because that fits in their schedule. Saturday mornings would work for our night students, but students can go to either one, and we have them in person on campus, and we also do through Zoom that they're able to log into the Zoom room and talk to the instructor and have answers about them on those Fridays and Saturdays. Even outside of that, we are very communicative via email, setting up a time to do a sit down for tutoring or getting a study group together, relying on some of the students who are a little more advanced in the program to maybe kind of lead little study groups. We have so many solutions and we're very creative about those kinds of things. I'm responsible for most of the assignments, so a lot of students come to me and ask for clarification, and I'm pretty responsive and helping out. And it's actually those questions that have helped me fine-tune some of those assignments and make them easier to read or understand or add a supplemental material to them. So those questions I really, really love because it's always making us improve the curriculum. And I always call it a living curriculum because we are constantly exploring new ways and other ways to make it different and tweak it and make it better for all kinds of students and all types of learning styles. And then another question that we get is what kind of technology I need, right? You hear online, what do I need? How do I do this? We actually have a lot of students that do all of their work on their phones. Now with smartphones, it's pretty easy to log into all the assignments and do them from the phone. We use a learning management system, which I'll go into just very briefly and show you a couple of screenshots from that. That has an app. A lot of students like the app. I guess I'm old school. I like the mobile web version of the technology. I don't like the app as much, but either one, very functioning, and most of the students are able to complete it that way. I'm old school. I want my computer, so I like to use my computer to do those kinds of assignments. We have extra Chromebooks at the campus. When students are working on campus, they want to borrow if they really need to see it. We have those times as well. So we have different options. And of course, we have Wi-Fi at all of our campuses for students to use. So not too much. You don't have to go out and buy anything extra special. We can make it work. So here's our LMS. It's called Learning Management System, and we use Moodle. So here's just a little screenshot of once you log into the program, what it looks like. So we have different courses that the students can log into. And once they get into the hybrid content, that's what I jumped ahead to here. They log into one of the modules. This happens to be the Riding the Wave that I showed earlier on a previous screen. It gives you the 4-week or the 7-week layout if you're a part-time student. Tells you, I go in every mod and update these dates, as you can see here. Hopefully you can see here. The dates are marked out for you to start to June 11th is today, actually, because today is the first day of the online assignments, and they have till next Friday to get them all done. And then their first in-person class for this mod is going to be Monday the 14th. It's actually our new start of the program as well. We're going to welcome new students onto the campus. We're really excited about that. So students would be able to open up this module, see this right away, can get at a glance look at what kind of assignments are going to be coming up, what their in-person classes are going to be as well. Little side note, they all do have access to our Google Calendar, which is where we have the in-person classes right now. So this is just a different view of the calendar. for them. And so we're going to take a look. So for example, week 1, the first 2 classes is cranial A&P and then A&P nervous system 1. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. When you scroll down, you're going to see the different weeks. So the student would log into week 1 and it's going to open up a drop-down menu of all the different assignments. Just want to point out here, students need to complete all the assignments in week 1 plus a learning checkpoint. It's like a little test of kind of a summary of all of the material from the week to make sure that they've gone through all the material. Sometimes we'll throw in a trick question, kind of like, what color was somebody's t-shirt in the video? Not to that extent, but just a little check-in to make sure they're really paying attention to the videos and such. They need to pass that learning checkpoint in order to open up the next weeks, as is noted there under where it says week 2. You have to achieve the required score in the previous checkpoint. So that's a nice way for them to getting through the material and not jumping ahead and working their way through at a good pace. So once they click that open, as I said, the classes drop down and it explains to you what you're going to do. So as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be the cranial A&P class and A&P nervous system 1 were the first 2 classes. And under the subheading there, it'll say whatever the requirements are for that class. So watch the lecture, then read the article in the assignment, and then answer the questions in the assignment as well. So the lecture, when we click on it, it actually takes to the recorded lecture. We house it on YouTube, but they're private links so that they are just for our students. And the lectures are between 45 minutes and an hour, most of them, and go through what you would have covered in lecture note writing materials in the class. So this mod in particular, they're going to be doing cranial sacral therapy. So the A&P is going to talk about the history of what we know of as cranial sacral therapy right now, and some of the leaders in that part of the field in that modality, and who kind of brought it to different healthcare providers, and what does the skull look like, and what are the bones, and what's the structure, and what is cranial sacral really doing in the body. So all the background stuff, so that when they get to class on Monday, they can do a little review of that information, a little check-in, and then get to the demos and start palpating, doing the hands-on, getting their hands on each other. So under the lecture, there's always the lecture slideshow. So we have a slideshow for every single lecture that the instructor is going through as they were recording. And that slideshow then is available for the students so they can review. Some students print them out, save them for themselves, or just refer back to them. Like, what did Michelle say? Something about the brain here or something. They can go back and kind of scroll through the slides instead of having to find the right spot in the lecture. So that's a nice little learning portion that they have as well to help with their studying. And then under that is going to be the assignment. So when a student clicks on that, they're going to find that article that we mentioned above. And there's questions related to the article now that they've seen the lecture, and we ask them to kind of reflect on them or answer the questions, whatever the assignment might be. So they would open that up and they're able to submit their assignment. Some students do it on a Word doc or a Google Doc and upload it, put it in a PDF or something like that. For other students to make it easy, there's actually a text box. You can type in the answer right into the assignment right there. So it's pretty easy, saves it right away, lets the student know when we grade it as well. As you see, there's a few ungraded in there that they wouldn't have anything notifying them yet that they have it, because as soon as we hit that, then they get a notification that they get their grade, feedback, comments from the instructor. So that's kind of how you get that back and forth with that as well. And then another example of that, of the class, A&P Nervous System 1, for example, watch the lecture and then complete the nervous system assignment. So similar to the above class, they have the lecture that was recorded. Under that is the slideshow that goes over from that lecture. This one in particular is for the next subsequent classes as well, because it's a pretty big slideshow that we broke into 3 different lectures to make them each about an hour, because the nervous system, anyone who's familiar with that would know there's a lot to cover for it. And then their assignment here is the nervous system assignment 1. And there's an unlimited tries because it's homework, right? It's not a test. This is for them to show their knowledge of it, so they get to try if they don't get it all correct. And this one is kind of in a quiz format. So it's easy to kind of answer the questions, multiple choice, sometimes fill in the blank, things, matching, different things like that. So in each one of these examples, watching the lecture, reading the material that goes with it, doing the assignment all covers about the time that would take in an in-person class, as they all do. We beta tested this for a little bit before we went live with all these tests, with all these classes, and found that that was that sweet spot. We were finding what would work for most students of really absorbing all that material, is as if you're sitting in a class, listening to a lecture, taking your notes, reading from the book, reading doing that kind of thing, having a discussion. So that's a basic how they're laid out there for some of those. I can go to all of them, then you have the whole you don't need the whole program. There's just kind of an example, but just wanted to give you a little bit of the insider on that. So as promised, I did say I would let you know about some of the modules, all of the modules and the modalities that we teach in it. But I just want to say before I move forward, again, I know that that's probably a lot of information, which is one of the reasons I kind of wanted to record it too, so people kind of could go back to it again if they needed to, because I know when I'm telling people that, they're like, okay, I understand. And later I was like, wait, that what? And I always laugh of myself that I have to remember not everyone's in my head sometimes. So to explain it and make sure that it's understandable to everyone, I'll put up my email at the end of this again, but it's at the beginning if you didn't catch it, if anyone has any questions about how the program works and how particularly the online structure works. But just want to go into this part though, and then we'll wrap up soon after that. So as I said earlier, our modules in the beginning, I said they were, I was just going to call them by numbers because they do all have names, and sometimes that can be a little confusing. But here I'm going to actually lay out the names of the module, and I'll kind of compare like where they are in the program, that kind of thing. So our alpha module, it's actually engaging with alpha. That's our first module. We sometimes call it the Swedish module, module number 1. And that's the one that's going to be focusing on Swedish therapeutic massage, anatomy, and communication that will build up for the middle modules. Middle modules, we have different names for that group, but we call it the big class, the merged class, the delta class. We have, it's the wheel, the big wheel that's turning around. So let's find out the wheel, how it's going around. So I'll say the first one, but it's not necessarily the first one, depending on where you jump into. Because like right now on Monday, they're going to be jumping into the 7th one. So it doesn't really line up there, but we're going to go through it in this order right now. So our Sinking Deeper module, that's where they're going to learn about neuromuscular therapy and trigger points, lymphatic drainage massage reflexology, and then their online classes will be kinesiology of the hip and talk about exploration of the self in the communication classes. Okay. Our Thinking Therapeutic module, that's where they'll learn about injury rehab, sports and injury rehab. So they go actually do pre and post event classes. They'll talk about sports injuries and other injuries. A lot of times people say like sports injuries, but a non-athlete could also have some of these injuries as well, depending on what's going on for them. And online, they're doing some anatomy of tissues, kinesiology of the knee and the ankle. They do some business basics, language fundamentals for ethics and boundaries. Something I didn't write up in there. This is also where they do the hot rocks and the hot stones. More to come on that from us. We are developing some fun stuff along the way, and I don't want to give away too much right now. But we're going to have some pretty cool stone related classes coming up that we'll be sharing with everybody soon. Connecting with Rhythms module, that's where we do connective tissue therapy. Some people will refer to it more as like myofascial work, kind of a structural integration, but we're calling it connective tissue work. We do more hydrotherapy there. We'll do a little bit more the more fun hydrotherapy stuff. Well, not that hot rocks and everything else isn't fun, but the scrubs, we'll do some body wraps sometimes, depending on which campus, what supplies we have, and who's teaching. It could be a little bit of mixture of a lot of things. I personally, when I teach it, I like to do ice cup massages, and everyone hates me for it. But so I'm not your teacher for that all the time. But other instructors are a little more kind to want to do the fun stuff. But to me, watching people's expressions with ice cups is fun. But That's neither here nor there. And in this module as well, we talk about exploration in boundaries in research. This is where we do our heavy research module as well. We talk about research, which is really important, not just in the industry, but in our program with our case study projects. So it's a big part of our program as well. Balancing East with West. This is we're going to be learning about Thai massage. It used to have some other modalities, but going off of student feedback, going off of employer feedback, and just the industry changes and kind of what we're seeing trends, we decided to pull out the other classes and concentrate on Thai. And so we expanded the Thai program in the last couple of years. And it's really, really been beneficial. The students that come out of our programs now know really how to do a full Thai session on the floor and even on the table. And we just found that it's been great for the students. So, and all of these things, if you're watching this from a clinic client point of view, know that you can request these modalities, and we hopefully can find a student that can fit that for you as well. We can't always guarantee it, but know that they are able to do full sessions in these other modalities. In Balancing East with West, they also jump into kinesiology of the head and neck. That's just in general our kinesiologies. We break it apart into different areas of the body as they're learning. This is where we put in cupping therapy. So that's a relatively new addition to the program. It's probably 2 years now that we've put it in. Maybe the last year officially has been on. So 2 whole days going over using silicone cups and learning how to implement them in the practice. So something we're really excited and proud that we offer as a standard in our curriculum. In that mod, we also have some business and ethics, standards of practice, and industry professionalism are also included. So things like we'll talk about what's required of licensing, state board stuff, continuing education things, zoning things for opening businesses. So we try to go over a lot of those things to make students successful to get into business. If you missed my last week's session, again, go back to our YouTube channel and our playlist for the live streams. I interviewed Sharice Sonen Mo, the author of Business Mastery, and she and her associates have a ton of information on business that we always refer back to for our students. But knowing that we only have so much time to cover business, that we tell our students to, here are some resources for you for that. But we try to at least give them some foundations of where to get started, depending on where they want to work. Not everybody wants to be a business owner. So we want to try to encompass all aspects of business. Grounding in TCM module, traditional Chinese medicine, is what TCM stands for. And that's where they'll learn some basic traditional Chinese medicine theories and information. They'll learn shiatsu as well during that time. That's another one that we've expanded the class hours as well, and the class times over the years. Just seeing, we want students to be able to feel comfortable doing a full session of this modality by the time they leave, and not just a little taste. Although I will say there are shiatsu programs out there that are hundreds and hundreds of hours, and we realize it is just a small taste of it, but at least they have some basics that they could do a safe full session with using those techniques. This is also where they learn prenatal massage. We've expanded this over the years as well, and have made it a little bit longer time that we spend in the classroom. I actually do some lecturing on it as well, part of the online work. So I've probably doubled, or if not tripled, the amount of time that we've done in the prenatal courses as well. And this prepares students to be able to work with healthy, pregnant people. So we always tell students it's not something, if they want more training, they want to work with pregnant people who might have some complications or other considerations, that they should take more training, because we give just the tip of the iceberg. And even that we've expanded for many more hours than we started before. In this module as well is that chiropractic assistant training that I mentioned earlier in this live stream. And those classes, they're actually sprinkled throughout the whole program. We could probably do a whole live stream on the chiropractic classes, but what's required from the board is a certain number of anatomy hours, and treatment planning and communication and business and CPR. And there's all these different components that we have throughout our whole program. But then in this module, we have the chiropractic specific classes. So learning about what's chiropractic care, what's included, what they can and can't do, how's acupuncture used in chiropractic medicine, things like that. So those specific classes are in this module. And then they have more communication classes. Communication and business are included in every single module as well, to always have those creative juices flowing in those departments. And then finally, our last module with modalities, that is riding the wave. That's where the students learn cranial sacral body work, integrated practice, massage for the elderly and other special populations, where we include infants, children, tactical first responders, the elderly is listed there. We talk about some oncology considerations. And with all of those, we always tell the students, this is just a taste and some information and how to get you started. So something to go and get more specialized training, particularly if you want to work with people who have been in touch with oncology considerations and things like that. In this module, kinesiology of the trunk, anatomy and physiology of the nervous system is put in there. And on the business side, they work on their business plans, whether it's their own personal employment business plan or their actual opening their full practice business plan. And we work on developing an online presence. We actually have them build a website. I almost said a resume. There is a resume building in another module. They build a website using one of our partners, ABMP, Associated Bodywork and Massage Professionals website builder. So if they choose to stay with that program or with that association after they graduate, they can actually take that website still with them and use it. So it's just to get them used to how to put one of those together and get their information out there and start that kind of marketing process. So we try to support them in that arena. So so that is, in a nutshell, our program. I know it's a ton of information in there, but I'm gonna see. Hopefully that clears up a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and change my settings here so I can just come back to that. There we go. I hope that clears up some things, I know a lot of information, but I'm really proud of what we've developed here at ASIS. I love this living curriculum, and I love that we keep expanding and updating and making more user-friendly and more relevant to our students, particularly in changing times, with different populations that are coming through the door as well. So hopefully if you're watching this and it's something that spoke to you a little bit and you're curious about it, we'd love to sit and chat with you about it a little bit more. If you have any questions for me, as promised, let me throw that up there real quick. My my work email, my direct email there is mcordero@asismassage.edu. More than happy to answer any questions about the program or curriculum, or direct you to the person who might know better if it's another kind of question as well. So thank you so much for watching this week. I know it was a little bit of a different structure. I hope you didn't get too sick of just me today, but we'll be back again with more interviews, more great people in the industry to get to know a little bit more. But in the meantime, have a great weekend, and we'll see you again.